There is a supernatural force in the universe, and this supernatural force is the greatest creator. 前言, 上帝篇前言, preface to the chapter of the greatest creator. 写评, where is the past of humankind? Where is the limit of humanity's future? Can human wisdom prevent an asteroid from colliding with Earth? If we don't know or can't, then let us seek God. The first sentence of chapter 25 of the Tao Te Ching states, "There is a being, wondrous and mysterious, existing before heaven and earth." The Bible begins by stating, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." The Diamond Sutra says, "If one sees me through appearances and seeks me through sounds, that person is following a misguided path and cannot see the Tathagata, the greatest creator." The Book of Songs, the Ten of King One Great Brightness states, "This King One, with great care, serves God and enjoys many blessings." The renowned scientist Stephen Hawking wrote in Chapter 8, The Origin and Destiny of the Universe, in A Brief History of Time. The general theory of relativity itself cannot explain these features or answer these questions because it predicts that at the singularity of the Big Bang, the universe began with infinite density, and at that point, general relativity and all other physical laws break down. It seems that science has revealed a set of laws which, within the limits of the uncertainty principle, if we know the state of the universe at any moment, these laws will tell us how it evolves over time. These laws may have originally been established by God. One possible explanation is that God chose this initial structure of the universe for reasons beyond our comprehension. This certainly falls within the power of an omnipotent creator. Unless it was an act of God to create life like ours, explaining why the universe began in this manner is exceedingly difficult. Humans have 6 sensory organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So they have 6 perceptions: vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and spirituality. Humans use these 6 perceptions to communicate with the material world and the non-material world. If a person were blind, how could we convince them that light exists in the universe? How could we prove the existence of light? We would be unable to. Without sight, one cannot perceive light. If a person were deaf, how could we convince them that sound exists in nature? How could we prove the existence of sound? We would be unable to. Without hearing, one cannot perceive sound. If a person lacked spiritual awareness and was spiritually ignorant, how could we convince them that the greatest creator exists in the universe? How could we prove the existence of the greatest creator? We would also be unable to. Without spiritual awareness, one cannot perceive the greatest creator. Spiritual awareness is an innate instinct. Through spiritual awareness, one can fully perceive the existence of the greatest creator. Everyone has spiritual awareness, so why do they still fail to perceive the greatest creator? This is because their spiritual awareness is obscured or dull, similar to how impaired vision prevents one from seeing clearly. When vision declines, wearing glasses can help one see clearly. When spiritual awareness is dull, enhancing wisdom can help one perceive the greatest creator. Some have used a paradoxical question to try to deny the existence of the greatest creator. Can the greatest creator create a stone that he cannot lift? This question presents a dilemma. If you say no, it denies the greatest creator. If you say yes, it implies that the greatest creator cannot lift the stone he created, which also denies the greatest creator. Thus, no matter how you answer, the result is to deny the greatest creator, at least in terms of his omnipotence. The person who devised this paradox is either very clever or malicious, aiming to confuse people's spirituality and lead them away from the greatest creator. Such a person is either Satan or someone not favored by the greatest creator. Unable to partake in the truth, they attempt to make others believe it is unattainable, similar to the saying about sour grapes. The question, can the greatest creator create a stone that he cannot lift, is a trap. Similar questions include, are you a thing? How should one answer this question? Whether you say yes or no, you fall into the designer's trap. For instance, answering I am not a thing or I am a thing leads to the same result. Therefore, paradoxical questions should not be answered directly with affirmation or denial. Instead, consider or counter-question based on the question itself. For example, in response to "Are you a thing?" You might ask, are you a thing? To see how the questioner responds. In response to, can the greatest creator create a stone that he cannot lift? You might ask, can the greatest creator not lift a stone he has created? The question, can the greatest creator create a stone that he cannot lift, does not apply to the greatest creator himself, just as are you a thing, does not apply to humans. Additionally, this question is inherently self-contradictory, meaning that any answer already implies a denial. Such questions have puzzled many philosophers and logicians. Here are some similar examples. Aren't you an animal born from your parents? Can eyes not see eyes? Isn't a person a non-animal? These types of questions cannot be answered directly but must be rephrased. The answer to the question of the greatest creator is, the greatest creator can create stones under any conditions. The greatest creator can lift stones under any conditions. Do you have further questions? If so, I can address them in this manner. First, I will ask, what does it mean to lift? If holding a stone with both hands and placing it above one's head constitutes lifting, then what about this definition? If not, what does lifting mean? If so, suppose the stone is the earth, and I stand upside down, holding the earth with both hands. Is the earth above my head then? You might argue that it isn't, because the earth is below my head. Fine. Then, if I move along the earth's meridian 360 degrees while performing the same action, the earth should be above my head at some point, right? No? So, which point in the universe is above us? Which point is below us? You might then argue that even though my hands are holding the earth and the earth is above my head, it's not me lifting it, but the earth's gravity pulling me. If so, we must first reconsider the meaning of lifting. What then is lifting? Regardless of how lifting is defined, by changing orientation, I can claim to have lifted the earth. If you agree that I lifted the earth, then I can prove that I did not lift it. So, does the question, can the greatest creator create a stone that he cannot lift, hold? We must seek the greatest creator and understand the greatest creator. Otherwise, we will never grasp the origins of the universe, the origin of life, the past and future of humankind. We will also fail to understand animal instincts and the purpose of life. I am 46 years old and have worked in over 20 different professions: shepherd, farmer, laborer, youth league secretary, clerk, party branch secretary, instructor of a commune cultural propaganda team, fitter, electrician, auto mechanic, middle school teacher, office staff, office director, translator, driver, salesperson, grocery store manager, restaurant purchaser, bar attendant, nightclub manager, fast food manager, and real estate developer. Except for the roles of office director and restaurant purchaser, which I held for only 2 months each, I have worked in all other positions for more than 6 months. What have I gained from working in so many different occupations? The gain is that a life without faith and without a goal is like a cloud floating aimlessly in the sky, driven by the wind. A few years ago, a mysterious car accident I experienced personally prompted me to start exploring the meaning of life. What am I living for? For the motherland and the nation? Nonsense. I can't even solve my own survival problems. Yet I talk about the motherland and the nation. For my parents? Definitely not, because if it were for them, I wouldn't be able to continue living after they passed away. For my partner? That's absurd. If I didn't exist, my partner might actually live better. For my children? No. Why do people without children still continue to live? My children have established their careers, so why should I keep living? Living not only doesn't help my children anymore, but it also adds trouble and burden to them. For myself? Ridiculous. I can't decide my own birth, nor can I decide my own death. If I could choose, I would prefer to have no life, to be a zero. So, who brought me into this world? Am I a random product of my parents' accidental union? Absolutely not. The universe is governed by laws and rules. Everything is inevitable, and there are no purposeless accidental events. Everything that exists has its own purpose. So, what is the purpose of my existence? I can't tolerate living such a vague and confused life. Either I die, or I live clearly and transparently. Even if I don't know where I came from, at least I need to know where I'm going. Otherwise, If I were to suddenly encounter another car accident and die tomorrow, wouldn't that be an injustice? Will money help me understand the purpose of life? It seems that no millionaire in the world has ever solved the problem of life's purpose. If I wait until I am rich, I might not have much energy or time left to figure it out before I die. Besides, money is not something that can be obtained just by wanting it. Otherwise, everyone would be billionaires. Will power help me understand the purpose of life? Throughout history, how many emperors and ministers have appeared? Yet which one of them understood the purpose of life? Who among them left us a treasury of classical advice? Will becoming a scientist help me understand the purpose of life? Even greats like Newton, Einstein, and Stephen Hawking didn't understand the origins of the universe, humanity, or life. Can I, after becoming a scientist, understand more than they did? Moreover, just as I am not naturally gifted with a singer's voice and cannot become a singer, can I become a scientist? I cannot dream such dreams. Will becoming some other kind of expert help me understand the purpose of living? Probably not, just like archaeologists and anthropologists who keep changing their theories about human origins. One moment they say humans originated in Europe, then Asia, then Africa, based on a few fossils they've uncovered. This kind of theory is unreliable, as they might discover another fossil somewhere and claim humans originated in Antarctica. Will reading the Bible help me understand the purpose of life? Perhaps I am not gifted, but after reading the Bible for years, I still haven't had an awakening. Where exactly is the kingdom of the greatest creator? Does it already exist, or will it come in the future? If it is in the future, then where and when will it happen? Is the future 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or 100 million years? My life is only a few decades. Can my body be resurrected? How is it resurrected? Jesus is God, no doubt about it. But are there other gods who can restrain Jesus? If there are no other gods, why did Jesus have to suffer? Why did almost all of Jesus' disciples die violently? Can't God control his own destiny? As God, why couldn't he protect his few disciples? Why must suffering be the path to future blessings? I hope that Buddhist scriptures can point me in the right direction. Buddhism discusses concepts such as past lives, future lives, samsara, karma, and the interplay of causal conditions, all of which are meaningful. But how exactly does karma transform? How should one live to ensure a better future life? Where exactly is the Western Pure Land? What is it like? I haven't read all the vast Buddhist scriptures, nor do I dare to make rash conclusions. But Buddhism has existed for over 2,000 years, and it still can't make people understand the purpose of life. If life is merely a process of suffering, why did the greatest creator create so many beautiful things for humans to enjoy? If the purpose of life is to become a Buddha, then what is a Buddha? How does one become a Buddha? What is the probability of becoming a Buddha? If 1,000 people practice Buddhism and only 2 to 3 people can become Buddhas, wouldn't the rest have wasted their life and lost their joy? Money, power, and status, scientists and other experts, Christianity, and Buddhism all have their own reasons, but none can make people live clearly and understandably. Moreover, as an ordinary person who can't even solve the problem of daily meals, how can I have the time to master social sciences, natural sciences, and religion? Is there a shortcut? Can I bypass God's and human-acquired knowledge and seek the greatest creator directly, since only the greatest creator knows everything and has the final decision? Where can I find the greatest creator? Read the book without words by observing the sky, the earth, people, and things. Fortunately, I have engaged in over 20 different types of work, experienced many hardships, and, after graduating from high school, attended school 3 times, living in rural areas, small towns, and big cities. This allows me to connect various phenomena and events for chain thinking, but the result is still rather vague. Where is the problem? By chance, I read the Quran and was greatly inspired. The Quran says, "O assembly of jinn and mankind, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, then pass. You will not pass except by authority." Yes, how can I escape the bounds of heaven and earth without borrowing the authority and help of the greatest creator? How to borrow the help of the greatest creator? Rely on spiritual awareness. Humans are part of the universe. Heaven and humans correspond. If a small thorn pricks the toe, the brain immediately senses it. If I send a thought fax to the greatest creator, the greatest creator will surely know. Sure enough, the origins of the universe, life, humanity, and 36-dimensional spaces gradually appeared on the screen of my mind. And the issue of fate resolved itself without further explanation. At this point, I recognized the greatest creator, recognized God Jesus, recognized Buddha Shakyamuni, recognized celestial ancestor Laozi, recognized humanity, understood the universe, time, space, energy, and material, the physical body and the spiritual body, the essence of life, and the purpose of living. I recognized the greatest creator through spiritual awareness, but spiritual awareness can only be understood and cannot be conveyed. To spark interest, I used 40 natural phenomena and 8 logical inferences to forcibly prove the existence of the greatest creator and explain the 8 characteristics of the greatest creator and the 8 relationships between the greatest creator and humanity. Whether you can sense the greatest creator depends entirely on your own spiritual awareness and wisdom. 宇宙中有一个超自然灵魂证明上帝存在的40个例证. There is a supernatural soul in the universe, 40 evidence proving the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Tsong Long and Ailian. Open the windows, the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view. You will see the faraway mountains fresh and green. Stay and study in Life Changyuan. A new life will begin. Your spirituality will grow, and your thinking will transcend the limitations of human nature and ethics. Once we calm our minds, we can feel that there is a supernatural power in control of the movement of the universe, the birth and death of all things, and the track of human life. No one can deny fate, yet no one can grasp their own fate. Everything around us seems to be prearranged by certain powers, and we are only moving according to the life courses assigned to us. So, does such a supernatural power exist? Is there a super wisdom in control of the entire universe? If there is not, then how did the universe come into being? Where did the variety of life forms on the earth come from? If there is, where could the supernatural power be? What is its form? Does it resemble a man? What characteristics does it have? Why can't we see it? Does it care for humankind? How does it manage this astronomical universe? How can we get to know it? wanna有序运行的太阳系需要有人设计安排. The orderly operation of the solar system needs someone's design. Xiefeng. The solar system, with the sun at its center, consists of the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, comets, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, meteoroids, interstellar matter, the Earth's satellite moon, and other asteroids. Other celestial bodies revolve around the Sun, attracted by the Sun's gravitation. Among them, the 9 planets revolve in the same direction around the Sun along nearly round orbits in approximately the same plane. For billions of years, the solar system has been running in the Milky Way galaxy in an orderly manner, without any mistakes. The 9 planets, the Earth's satellite moon, and other asteroids have unfailingly maintained the order of the solar system, cooperating tacitly with each other, obedient and conforming. There has never been any bullying. There is a high degree of organization, discipline, and unity. If any planet does not obey the command and acts on its own, the whole solar system will immediately be knocked over by other stellar systems in the galaxy. The main task of the whole solar system is to sustain life on Earth. If this order is disturbed, humans will also perish. To live harmoniously, even a big family of about a dozen people needs some domestic disciplines to keep it in line. A company, no matter how small, must have rules and regulations to survive and develop. A house should have a design before builders can begin work. How the doors, windows, kitchen, living room, bedrooms, and bathroom should be arranged. To survive, even a pack of wolves, a swarm of bees, a cohort of ants, or a flock of sheep must have a leader in charge. Otherwise, the result will be a state of disunity and chaos. Let's take a look at the general manager's office. The desk, chairs, bookshelf, sofas, tea table, telephone, and other objects are all arranged in an orderly manner. The tea table will not be placed on the desk, and the chairs will not be put on the sofas. Why? Because they have already been designed and arranged. Let's have a look at the workshops of a factory. The lathes, milling machines, planers, drill presses, workbenches, grinders, and tool cabinets are arranged in an orderly manner. They are not randomly placed or cluttered together. Why is that? It's because someone is organizing and arranging them. Let's take a look at the assembly workshop of TV sets. There is a strict order for the assembly of different components. Is this order formed naturally? Of course not. Someone is doing the design and arrangement. Let's take a look at everything in nature and every activity in human society. It is not difficult to discover that all have been organized and arranged by someone or some certain brain. Then, how about the orderly functioning of the solar system? Is it not designed by someone? By logical reasoning, we can infer that there must be someone in charge of the creation and arrangement of the solar system. But who is this someone? He must be the designer and organizer of the universe and the wise omniscience, the greatest creator. 凸地球至太阳的距离是刻意安排的. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is the result of deliberate arrangement. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is 147 million kilometers, which is the ideal distance for the Earth to absorb solar energy. If it were too far, the Earth would be a cold and bleak place. If it were too close, the Earth would become a flaming globe. You may have experienced warming yourself by a fire on cold winter days. Your distance from the fire is determined by its size. If you are too close to the fire, the heat will be unbearable, but if you are too far, you cannot absorb the heat. You will automatically adjust yourself to an appropriate distance that is not too warm to bear. Now, let's do a calculation. Imagine yourself as the Earth and the fire as the Sun. What will be the proportion? Let's suppose the proportion is x. Then the proportion from the Sun to the Earth is also x. That is to say, the distance between the Sun and the Earth is not a matter of coincidence but a deliberate arrangement. Except for the greatest creator. Who else could have done that?
3. 地球的自转是有意安排的。自转的速度是经过精确的计算确定的。
The rotation of the Earth is a planned arrangement, and the velocity of the rotation has been accurately calculated. If we keep facing the fire, we feel comfortable on the front of our body but still cold on our back. At this time, we will unconsciously turn around and let our back face the fire. After some time, we will turn around again. In such a case, wouldn't it be ideal for us to sit in an automatically rotating chair so that our entire body can evenly receive warmth? However, the rotation should not be too fast. Otherwise, we will feel dizzy and cannot see the objects around us clearly. More dangerously, we might be thrown off the chair. Too slow a rotation won't do either. One side of the body is warm enough, but the other side is in urgent need of heat, and yet the chair has not turned around. We can certainly find an optimum rotation speed that can make us feel comfortable and evenly warmed. The Earth is rotating at an ideal speed. It rotates at nearly 28 kilometers per minute and completes one rotation in 24 hours. This speed ensures that both the eastern and western hemispheres can receive heat evenly, and that animals, plants, and humans can have time for labor and rest respectively. If the Earth did not rotate, the eastern hemisphere would be forever facing the sun, making it unbearably hot, while the western hemisphere would be in eternal darkness, unbearably cold. Vice versa. If the rotation speed of the Earth were too fast, for example, if it rotated once every 12 hours, then there would only be 3 hours for each morning, noon, afternoon, and night. We would not have enough time to sleep, and the sun would rise very early in the morning. When we woke up, it would still be dark outside. Then should we get up or continue sleeping? If the rotation speed were too slow, for example, one rotation every 36 hours, there would be 18 hours of daylight and 18 hours of darkness. How should we humans plan our daily routines? Not to mention the excessive or insufficient time for plant photosynthesis and the abnormal climate it would cause. The rotation of the Earth and the speed of rotation are intentionally and meticulously designed by the greatest creator. If you are not convinced, just try it yourself and see whether you can come up with a better arrangement.
4. 地球环绕太阳运行及运行的速度是严格按照物质运动规律设置的。
The Earth orbits the Sun, and its running speed is in strict accordance with the laws of physical movement. The Earth orbits the Sun at a speed of 29.8 kilometers per second, which does not allow for the slightest error. If the speed exceeds 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fly off its orbit along the tangent and enter the vast universe. Life on Earth will go extinct due to a lack of appropriate light and heat from the Sun. If the speed is slower than 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fail to reach escape velocity and be drawn to the Sun, falling towards it just like an apple falls to the ground. Isn't that terrible? It is well known that Earth's satellites should orbit at a speed of 7.9 kilometers per second. If the speed is faster, they will not be able to fly around the Earth along a certain orbit. If the speed is slower, the satellites will fall down to the Earth. The speed must reach 111.8 kilometers per second to escape the constraint force of the Earth. The speed must reach 166.7 kilometers per second to escape from the solar system. These are absolute numerical values that allow for no exception or negotiation. Now, think it over. Why should the Earth revolve around the Sun at exactly 29.8 kilometers per second? Why not any other numerical value? Without the calculation and arrangement of a superwise being, is it possible for the Earth to run for 4.6 billion years, obediently, meticulously, and voluntarily? 5. The tilting of the Earth is deliberately set up. 5. 地球的倾斜是特意的设置. As for the Earth's orbit, it is tilted at a gradient of 23.5 degrees. You can use a globe as a sample. Without the tilting, there would be no alternating seasons on Earth. The equator would be unbearably hot, the temperate zone would be turned into the frigid zone, and Siberia and Russia would be part of Antarctica. If the tilting were at 90 degrees, the ice and snow in Antarctica would all be melted, and the Earth would be a complete ocean, with no single stretch of land. Can the Earth tilt at 24 degrees or 23 degrees? Absolutely not. If the Earth tilted at 24 degrees, all coastal cities would be submerged by water. If the Earth tilted at 23 degrees, the Earth would suffer from severe water shortage, and many rivers would disappear. Just imagine, would it work without the computation and design of a superwise being? Then, who is this superwise being? Neither you nor I, but the greatest creator. 6. The moon is the guarantee of life on Earth. 6. 月球是地球上生命的保证. First, let's look at some moon-related figures. The moon is 380,000 kilometers away from Earth, and its mass is approximately 1/81st of Earth's mass. The moon completes a circle around Earth every 25 hours. It takes 27.3 days for the moon to go along its orbit as well as auto-rotation for one circle. The time interval between the first full moon and the next is 29.5 days. It tilts at 5 degrees in relation to the ecliptic, and its orbit is oval. The moon moves westward. These figures are crucial for life on Earth, and even the slightest changes could result in catastrophe. Some people have whimsically thought of blasting the moon. Others object to the idea, arguing that the moon should not be blasted, because without the moon, man would lose some sentiment. However, the matter is not so simple. Without the moon's gravitational pull, there would be no seasonal changes, no ebb and flow in the oceans, and no wind, clouds, rain, snow, thunder, or lightning on Earth. Life would not exist. This simple truth doesn't need to be explained in detail, right? One might argue, if life on land disappears, does that mean life in the oceans would also cease to exist? The answer is yes, it would. Can life be born in a still ocean? Moreover, without the moon, we could not have inspiring moments like this. So bright a gleam on the foot of my bed. Could there have been frost already? Lifting my head to look, I found that it was moonlight. Sinking back again, I thought suddenly of home. Without the moon, life could not survive on Earth. Therefore, the moon is specially set up for the benefit of life on Earth, or we might say especially for humanity. Who has set up the moon? Our ancestors? Dinosaurs? Who but the greatest creator could have such power and capacity to hang the moon in the sky? 7. The distance between the moon and the Earth allows for no deviation. 7. 地球至月球的距离是丝毫都不能有偏差的. The distance between the Earth and the moon is 384,400 kilometers. If the distance were shorter, the Earth would be ravaged by raging gusts and torrential rains. If the distance were farther, there would be only gentle breezes, occasional drizzles on Earth, and there would no longer be great storms, typhoons, thunder, and lightning. In other words, life on Earth would suffer from bad weather and harsh environments. Just imagine what would happen if a jet plane skimmed just 1 meter above our heads. Not to mention the impact of the infrasonic and shock waves generated by the fast-flying plane. Even the whirls of air currents brought about by the flight would carry us off our feet. The tiles on the roofs would certainly be blown away, and a course of water gully and water wall would be formed when the plane skimmed over the water. Suppose the volume of the plane was equivalent to 3 football fields. What would happen if it flew past the surface of the Earth? The consequences would be catastrophic. In the area it passed by, there would be scenes of general turmoil and mess, with animals scampering for their lives, people and horses thrown off their feet, walls tumbling down, wind roaring, and waves billowing. The ships on the sea would be wrecked, and the coastal areas would be frequently pestered by sudden storms. If this situation were to occur every 25 hours, the survival of life on Earth would be unimaginable. What would happen if this plane were the moon? Not to mention the effects of other harsh elements on life. One flight of such a plane would bring 1/3 of the ocean's water to the land. If it flew around the globe once, the resulting hurricane would cause downpours to descend from the sky, and all the continents would be transformed into an ocean. Could life survive such a scenario? Therefore, the distance between the Earth and the Moon cannot allow the slightest deviation. Then who designed such an appropriate distance? Undoubtedly, the design was made with accurate calculation by a superior being more intelligent than human beings. 8. Great storms, typhoons, and thunder and lightning are deliberately choreographed. 8. 大风大浪、台风和雷鸣闪电是有意编排的. The occurrence of great storms, typhoons, thunder, and lightning is due to the existence of the moon. Without gales, the convection of hot and cold air on Earth would be impossible. Chilly and sweltering weather would continue for longer periods. Clouds over the ocean would not drift towards land, and there would be no rain or snow. Without billows, there would be no gales. Without typhoons, vapor over the ocean could not be carried to the plains and plateaus. Without thunder and lightning, the missing ozone layer would not be replenished in a timely manner. As a result, ultraviolet radiation and other cosmic rays would shine directly on humans, causing everyone to suffer from skin cancer. Without thunder and lightning, the air could not be cleaned, and countless viral bacteria would multiply uncontrollably. Humans would no longer multiply, and the Earth today would show no evidence of human footprints. 9. The whole solar system has been set up especially for humans. 9. 整个太阳系是专为地球人类而设置的. We can see, as mentioned above, that the distances between the celestial bodies, the sizes of different celestial bodies, and their speeds of movement have all been accurately and meticulously designed and arranged in strict accordance with the scientific laws of the survival and development of matter. They definitely do not occur randomly or unintentionally. Some people may argue, the Sun and the Earth are extremely important to mankind, but the other celestial bodies in the solar system are just dispensable. Actually, this is not the case. Mercury, Venus, Mars, asteroid clusters, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all set up to protect the Earth. They are additional bodies of the Earth and have been set up and arranged for man. A riddance of any heavenly bodies or a change to any factor will alter the orbit of the Earth, and humans will not survive on Earth. Life only exists on Earth in the entire solar system, and there is absolutely no life on other planets because they are appurtenances of the Earth. To discover the secrets of the universe, astronomers have created countless space telescopes to observe space all day and night. This is a tiring task. Actually, if only we are capable of calculating and thinking, we can calculate, starting from man's basic necessities for survival, the masses of the Earth, the Moon, and other celestial bodies, the distances between them, their orbits, and speed. Without looking up into the sky, we can know what is there beyond Pluto and whether Uranus has satellites. When we come to know that there are superior life spaces apart from human society, we can infer the size and structure of the entire universe. When we are aware of this, we will discover that there are no superfluous galaxies and celestial bodies in the universe, and each has its function and position. Suppose we are in a highly democratic and developed country. We can infer from the clean and tidy streets that the country has a highly efficient urban sanitation management organization. From the size of the city and its population, and the living standard and other factors, we can work out the number of dustmen in this city without counting them one by one from each street to lane. If the actual figure is one more than our calculation, it is also to account for the possibility of someone needing to be replaced temporarily due to unforeseen circumstances. 10. The Earth's skin, atmosphere. 10. 地球的皮肤大气层. The atmosphere occupies the space from sea level to 1,000 kilometers above. 99% of the atmosphere is concentrated within a space of 40 kilometers from the surface of the Earth and above. The atmosphere is divided into the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, and exosphere, according to the different chemical components within various altitude ranges. The range about 18 kilometers above sea level belongs to the troposphere. 99% of the troposphere consists of vapor. The climatic changes and natural phenomena of thunder and lightning, wind and rain, drifting clouds, evening or morning glow, and rainbows all occur in the troposphere. The atmosphere consists of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% of other gases, such as carbon dioxide, argon, and ozone. The aerosphere is the skin of the Earth without which the Earth would be as bleak and desolate as the Moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies. There would be no life on Earth. Then how did the Earth's skin come into being? Some may say the atmosphere occurs naturally. Then why is there no atmosphere on the Moon and Mars? The proportions of different gases in the atmosphere are just right. The increase or decrease of the proportions of any gases would be catastrophic to life on Earth. For example, oxygen accounts for only 21% of the atmosphere. The absence of oxygen will mean the instant death of humans and animals, and the reduced amount of oxygen will hinder the normal activities of humans and animals. It is impossible to carry out normal activities on the summit of Mount Everest in the Himalayas because of the scarcity of oxygen. Spacecraft must be equipped with adequate oxygen for astronauts to carry out normal explorative activities. If oxygen in the atmosphere accounts for more than 21%, people and animals in low-latitude regions may suffer poisoning, and inflammables in nature will be liable to spontaneous combustion. An iota of spark may trigger many things ablaze. Apart from moisture, sunlight, and carbon dioxide, plants also need a large amount of nitrogen oxide for their growth. If the content of nitrogen is less than 78%, no matter how often or on what scales thunder and lightning may occur, there won't be enough nitrogen oxide created for the absorption of plants on the surface of the Earth. The amount of carbon dioxide accounts for less than 1% of the atmosphere. The small amount of carbon dioxide is the core factor of the greenhouse effect, which maintains the global temperature between -21 degrees and 14 degrees Celsius. Without carbon dioxide, the ocean will freeze up and the plants will die out. However, with too much carbon dioxide, humans and animals may die of poisoning, and the temperature of the Earth may rise dramatically. We may ask, how did the atmosphere and the accurate proportions within the atmosphere come about? We cannot always attribute inexplicable phenomena to naturally formed as a matter of course, can we? Without the careful attention of parents, can a person grow up naturally after he was born? Is the electrical lighting we use generated naturally? Does a plane, weighing dozens of tons, fly naturally in the sky? Can we naturally reap a bumper harvest by simply throwing some seeds on the ground without hoeing the weeds, fertilization, and watering? In the universe, there is absolutely nothing that happens naturally or spontaneously. Everything is managed by a person or intelligence. In light of this, is there anyone who still doubts it? 11. The guardian of life, the ozone layer. 11. 生命的保护层，臭氧层. Up in the sky, between 20 and 30 kilometers from the Earth's surface, there exists a sky-blue transparent sphere. It is the ozone layer in the stratosphere of the atmosphere, which is the guardian of life on Earth. Without it, cosmic rays, especially the ultraviolet rays emitted by the sun, would shine on humans and animals without any resistance. As a result, 99% of humans and animals would be inflicted with cancer and cataracts, and their immune systems would be weakened, making them susceptible to contagious diseases like the flu, which could wipe out entire populations. Because of this, the Vienna Conference in 1985 and the London Conference in 1990 established a resolution to protect the ozone layer. Why? First discovered by a German scientist in 1839, ozone is a relatively unstable light blue molecule composed of 3 oxygen atoms. The ozone molecule mainly results from the photolysis of intense ultraviolet radiation. The content of ozone accounts for less than 100,000th in the atmosphere. 90% of ozone is concentrated in the ozone layer, which absorbs and filters ultraviolet radiation waves that are readily absorbable by the nucleic acid in biological cells. Ranging in wavelengths between 240 nanometers and 320 nanometers, these ultraviolet radiation waves can cause the aforementioned diseases and pose a direct threat to the survival of life on Earth if they are absorbed by animals, plants, and humans. Ozone and the ozone layer are protecting humans, but the ozone inhaled by people near the ground is a harmful substance, which is capable of damaging lung tissues and the photosynthesis reaction system of plants. As a powerful photochemical oxidant, it can cause great damage to rubber, plastics, and the life of animals and plants. It can react with the hydrocarbon of automobile exhaust and volatile gasoline to generate organic pollutants like acetaldehyde and ketone. In 1973, 2 scientists from the University of California discovered that the synthetic substances known as CFCs had the ability to deplete the ozone layer. Meanwhile, human activities in the refrigeration and aviation industries were contributing to ozone generation. Human activities are pushing themselves to the brink of extinction, which has brought concern to scientists and far-sighted political leaders. This is why people should protect the ozone layer while preventing the increase of ozone in the troposphere, especially within the Earth's surface. The ozone layer also has other functions. For example, it can collide with meteorites in space, burning and digesting them in the ozone layer. Without this protection, the Earth would be littered with meteorites, and the planet's weight would not be the same as it is today. The Earth would have fallen into the sun long ago. I am not here to discuss how to protect the ozone layer, but to illustrate that the ozone layer in the atmosphere has not formed naturally. It is not dispensable but has been carefully designed and arranged by the greatest creator. 12. The blood of the earth, water. 12. 地球的血液, soy. Can we perceive the existence of the greatest creator through water? To answer this question, first, we will have a look at the properties of water, the functions of water, and the circulation of water. Water is composed of countless water molecules that are made up of 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms. One side of the water molecule, the side with hydrogen atoms, is the anode, and the other side is the cathode. Since like charges repel each other, but opposite ones attract, then the anode of a water molecule is linked to the cathode of another water molecule. As a result, as long as they exist in the same place, container, all the water molecules will be linked together and form the water that we commonly refer to because all the molecules have anodes and cathodes. Pure water is colorless, tasteless, and odorless. Its pH value is 7, neither acidic nor alkaline. Water is the only substance in nature that can exist in 3 forms: solid, liquid, and gas. It has greater solubility than any other liquid. So, water can transport valuable chemical elements, minerals, and nutrients to plants, animals, and the human body very easily. Water freezes and changes into a solid state at 0 degrees Celsius and becomes boiling water at 100 degrees Celsius. When the surface of water is irradiated by heat, the water molecules on the surface can become vapor and change into a gas state. Water can absorb and disperse heat. Water has very strong surface tension. When the sun shines on the water surface, the heated water will evaporate and become vapor, which can continuously rise in the troposphere until the strong wind brings it to the distant sky over the land, where the rising warm air current from the heated land surface will force it to continue the ascent until it meets the cold air current. The temperature and the vapor content decrease dramatically in the troposphere with the increase of altitude. When vapor meets the cold air current, it will revert to the state of liquid. When the temperature is cold enough, the vapor will change into minute crystal particles and form clouds when combined with dust, soot, and and salt crystals. When these minute water granules combine to form larger water drops, they will fall to the ground in the form of rain as a result of the gravitation of the Earth. Some of the falling rain returns to the oceans through the brooks and rivers, while some infiltrates underground to become groundwater. The groundwater can flow out to become surface water after hundreds of years and finally returns to the oceans. Some of the rain immediately changes into vapor after falling to the ground. The Earth is a closed system for the circulation of water. The total amount of water on Earth will neither increase nor decrease. Therefore, there will be no change in the total amount of water on Earth, no matter whether it is absorbed by plants, animals, and humans, or used to wash diapers, or has evaporated and risen up in the sky. Whether it has flowed into sewage pipes or infiltrated underground. Perhaps the water molecule you are drinking was once drunk by Jesus or Sakyamuni, or used to wash a mother's diapers. The total amount of water on Earth is 326 million cubic miles, of which the ocean takes up 97.24%, glaciers and icebergs account for 2.14%, groundwater accounts for 0.61%, and rivers only account for 0.0001%. Let's see if there is the greatest creator in water accordingly. Without water, the Earth is nothing but a lifeless desert. No matter how capable humans are, they cannot create water. In addition, people would have perished long ago without water, let alone create it. That is to say, the water on Earth is created by someone who does not need water. Who can exist without water? Someone wise may claim that water is not created. It is something that has existed on Earth since time immemorial. If this opinion is correct, we can be sure that the Earth has neither past nor future but is timeless in existence. Then astronomers and scientists' assertion that the Earth was born 4.6 billion years ago is purely a traveler's tale. Furthermore, since the Earth has existed since time immemorial and the Earth is only a small component of the universe, there will be no question of the birth of the universe, and the universe must also have existed since time immemorial. Since the universe has no beginning, then all the celestial bodies and galaxies in the universe must be timeless and eternal. So it is absolutely impossible for meteorites to fall on the Earth. Otherwise, the meteorites may have fallen from nowhere. Now that meteorites have fallen on the Earth, it means that changes have occurred in space, or certain celestial bodies have encountered disaster. The disaster that befalls on one celestial body will, in turn, affect the surrounding celestial bodies and trigger changes in other related celestial bodies. Thus, will some celestial bodies perish someday? Will some new celestial bodies come into being? If a celestial body comes and goes, then undoubtedly the Earth can also come and go. If the Earth has a beginning, it is impossible that the Earth has possessed all the things now on Earth from the very beginning. There must have been a process of generation and development. So, where does water come from? If we say that the water on Earth has come into being naturally, then the following questions need to be answered. Why is water colorless, tasteless, and odorless? What if water has color, for example, if water is red or black? What if water has taste, for example, if water is spicy, sour, or astringent? What if water has a smell, for example, if water emanates a fragrant or fishy smell? Why does water have very powerful solubility? What will happen if water cannot dissolve the food we have eaten and the drugs we have taken? If water cannot dissolve the red blood cells and white blood cells growing in the marrow, and if water cannot dissolve minerals, chemicals, and other nutritional substances? Why does the pH value of purified water stand at 7? What will happen if the pH value is smaller or greater than 7? Why does water have 3 states: gas, liquid, and solid? What will happen if water is only in the state of liquid and no gaseous or solid state? Will there be changes in the climate on Earth if water cannot turn into vapor? Can we still see the blue sky, white clouds, morning or evening glows? If water cannot change into a solid state at low temperatures and form a layer of ice on the lake surface to block the harsh cold, will the fish not be frozen to death? How much land will be left if the ice that accounts for 2.14% of the total water amount has melted into water? Why does water have a lower density in its solid state compared to its liquid state? Assuming that the density of solid water is greater than that of liquid water, The ice formed on the surface of a river will continuously sink. The rivers, lakes, and oceans will all turn into blocks of ice. When will the heat of the sun melt the ice? And will there still be life in the fish, shrimp, turtles, and other creatures frozen in the ice? Why does water have a powerful function in absorbing and releasing heat? If water cannot absorb heat, the temperature in areas close to the equator during summer would be enough to cause heat stroke in animals and humans. The heat from our car engines would not be carried away by water, and thermal expansion would cause the engine pistons to seize in the cylinder. If water does not have a strong heat dissipation function, winter in temperate regions, especially coastal areas, would become extremely cold, and the heat inside the engine would not dissipate. Why does water boil at 100 degrees Celsius? If water could boil at 20 degrees Celsius instead of 100 degrees Celsius, many rivers, lakes, and oceans would become steam pots, and we could directly catch cooked fish from them to eat. If water boiled at 150 degrees Celsius, we would not be able to cook food using ordinary pots, and we would not be able to cook food at all in areas above 3,000 meters above sea level. Why does water have a very strong surface tension? If water did not have a very strong surface tension, how could it be absorbed by the root systems of plants and enter the veins of trees to bring nutrients to leaves and fruits? How could it move inside the capillary vessels of humans and animals and transport nutrients to the surface layer of skin and internal organs? Well, that's enough about water for now. Just imagine, if water were not created by the greatest creator through careful arrangement, would it be possible for nature to create water with the special functions mentioned above? 13. Cheap and essential daily necessity, salt. 13. 价廉物美的日用品盐. When I was a child, I used to see a woman with an extremely large neck in our village. Every time I saw her, I would involuntarily take more glances at her. Later, I asked my grandma, "Why is her neck so big?" Grandma replied, "According to doctors, because she did not have enough iodized salt." When I was young, there were a fairly large number of mentally challenged people in the two neighboring villages. I asked my father, "Why are there so many retarded people in those two villages?" My father responded, "Possibly because they have had too much salt from buying gully." Let me talk a little bit about my hometown in this paragraph. I spent my early childhood in my hometown where the Yellow River and Dasha River met. My family had an orchard and vegetable garden, from where I could look westward at the spectacular view of the Yellow River falling from the sky, which glittered in the sunshine. To the north, across the river, were the beautiful scenes of Wangjiao Mountain and Wangjiao Plain, and the flocks of horses, cattle, and goats on the shoals. To the south, wire-pulled boats and sheepskin rafts were ferrying passengers across Dasha River. To the east, cascades of houses were shaded and embraced by green trees. The two springs near the village were warm in winter and cool in summer. All year round, clear and sweet water flowed from these springs, and I grew up drinking their water until I became a teenager. Who doesn't say my hometown is good? But my hometown was exceptionally beautiful. Unfortunately, my hometown has now become the territory of the Dragon King. The construction of the Lujiaxia Reservoir has created tremendous wealth for the 5 provinces and autonomous regions in northwest China, but at the same time, it has sacrificed my hometown. The building of the motherland requires everyone's sacrifice, and this is very reasonable. But what remains depressing is that, dear motherland, you have forgotten the people who have dedicated their homeland. I was barely a teenager when I left my beloved hometown and migrated to a new place, which was intersected with ravines. There was barren soil, endless desolation, and no more beautiful scenery. What remained were the primordial scenes of struggling for survival. My uncle had to leave for other places with my cousins and beg for food. These scenes are still vivid and fresh in my mind, and each time I recall them, my tears flow. Motherland, can't you make some compensation for your faithful children who have sacrificed for you? Yes, you can, and you did. Every time you only gave us a set of selected works of Mao Zedong for consolation. Your representatives came 5 times, so our family got 5 sets of selected works of Mao Zedong. The spiritual power is infinite, and the force of example is immense. But you have overlooked the fact that we are merely ordinary people. Even if you have piled my house and courtyard with selected works of Mao Zedong, we still need food and clothes, and need to get married. Motherland. Have you ever thought about the lives of those poor people who have sacrificed their homeland for you when you spent hundreds of millions of RMB decorating Chang'an Avenue? Now let me return to the topic. There is a deep gully called Bayan Gully near the two villages just mentioned. In the gully, there flows a gurgling stream, not of clear spring water, but of salty and turbid water. In order to save a few coppers earned from selling eggs while having salt, the people there made salt from the water of Bayan Gully. The question of whether the people in the two villages got retarded from eating the salt from Bayan Gully can be left to scientists. We can infer from the two examples that salt is extremely important to humans. In human history, the salt business was very profitable. Salt merchants were the symbol of wealth. Countless fights and wars have broken out between men for the control of salt origin and the channel of salt business. In ancient times, soldiers were offered salt as a prize, and laborers were also paid by salt. When salt became a rarity, it was more valuable than gold. Just like water and air, none of us can live without salt. Our daily food can dispense with any other seasoning, but not salt. Apart from water and air, salt is the most important necessity for life among natural resources. The main component of salt is sodium chloride. Rock salt, lake salt, salt bed salt, and sea salt may differ in their respective structures and composition. For example, the refined salt we usually purchase from stores is cubic crystal in structure, while the lake salt is polygonal crystal. The best salt should be sea salt made through the sunlight-caused evaporation of seawater. Such salt contains over 80 minerals needed by the human body, including iodine, calcium, potassium, magnesium, aluminum, barium, chromium, iron, manganese, fluorine, zinc, nickel, copper, phosphorus, and the like. Salt is not only a superior seasoning and preservative, but also the key substance to keep us healthy and vigorous. Salt can help the digestion of food and transfer nerve impulses to muscle tissues. But consuming too much salt can damage the heart, cause high blood pressure, and lead to overweight, as well as the decline of kidney function, the disorder of menstruation, and edema. The most important thing for life is air. Without air, man will die immediately, so there must be an adequate supply of air to guarantee the viability of life. The second most vital thing is water. Without water, man cannot survive for long, so there must be a great reserve of water to keep life going. The third most important thing for life is salt. Without salt, man can survive for a longer time, but will eventually die of weak limbs and frail body. Therefore, it is also necessary to have a certain amount of salt in store which can be obtained with little effort. When we shop for salt, we will find that salt is lower priced in comparison with other goods. As for gold, pearls, and diamonds, they are only ornamentals for life and are not necessities, so they are scarce in amount and not easily obtained. If seawater is not salty, there will be no salt on earth. Since seawater is inexhaustible, we will never be short of salt. Now let's see. For life in nature, the more important things are, the greater their supply. The less important things are, the smaller their supply. Is this simply a matter of unconscious coincidence of nature? Or is it a purposeful arrangement by some mysterious power? 14. Photosynthesis, the source of food for life. 14. 光合作用，生命食粮的源泉. To survive, humans need not only air, water, and salt, but also need to absorb nutrients, mainly carbohydrates.